since I got monetized. Okay, we get live stream.
Flex. Because I was like, because I got banned from TikTok Live, so I can't stream on TikTok Live.
Oh, late, Mary late.
Oh shit. Oh. Okay, so you have your chart, right? It's in front of you, right?
It is.
Okay, so if you look at your natal chart wheel, everything you see on the left side of your chart, that is dominant energy. Why am I so close to this camera? Everything on the right side of your chart, that is submissive energy. Everything on the top of the chart.
We're talking I'm sorry, not to interject. We're talking about from my left to my right. The left
so like
side
on the left side of that MCIC line, the left side of that line is dominant energy. Everything on the right side of your chart is submissive energy. Everything on the top half of the chart, so everything above that ACIC line, is extroverted energy, and everything on the bottom half is introverted energy. So if I were to like diagnose your personality on a conscious level, you are a assertive introvert, and on a subconscious level, you are a submissive extrovert. So altogether, that makes you.
What the hell does that mean? Okay, so
altogether, that means you're an introverted extrovert.
So let's repeat that one more time. So consciously, I am.
Yes. Consciously, you are a assertive introvert, a dominant introvert. So ego.
Introvert.
Ego. Yes. Subconsciously, you like emotionally, you are a submissive extrovert. So when you put all of that together, you are a introverted extrovert.
Introverted extrovert. Hashtag meaning I like people, but get the fuck away from me at the same time.
Basically, in other words. So what was I? Oh, so over there where it says AC, that's your rising sign. Then that's your first house. The rising sign, the first house, the ascendant, it all means the same thing. It's the house of self. It's the house of identity. It represents how you interact with the world and how the world interacts with you. And it represents the first like 10 to 15 years of your life. And it's in Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of the father, the sign of the career, paternal energy. It's the sign of like basic common sense logic. All right. So a lot of cardinal, just like a lot of like the grounded foundations of materialism, you know. So this represents a very practical childhood. Practical in the sense of you view the world from a very practical, grounded perspective. 2 + 2 is 4. The sky is blue. Right. The grass is green. Whoever the fatherly figures were in your life played a major role in shaping your identity. All right. Whether it be positive or negative, it's either his involvement is the reason you have your identity, or his lack of involvement is the reason you have your identity.
So, question. May I ask question?
Yes.
Okay. So biological is deceased.
Mm-hmm. Any father figure counts. So it doesn't have to necessarily be your biological dad. It can be grandpa, it can be uncle, it can be older brother, anyone who you consider a father figure or a paternal figure.
Okay. They play a major role
in shaping your identity.
Played a major role, or they continuously play a role.
Both.
Okay, so I have older brother, grandfather. I had a stepdad, but he left and divorced my mom like right once I was diagnosed with cancer. Like he came to visit me in the hospital one time and then was like, I gotta go. So that was that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's a mixture of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Of like definitely had that. Mm-hmm. I would say that missing, because at first I had identity problems, or I kind of continuously had those like little bit of identity issues, seeing as like my biological father is not even alive. It's not even like he left, but he's not alive. So almost like not knowing half of myself is kind of like weird. Mm-hmm. But then still having, my brother and my grandfather who have been positive influences in terms of father figures, but still like longing, like, for that, who am I type vibes.
Mm-hmm. But what your chart's telling me here with this, well, not even that. Think about Capricorn. So the Capricorn is a very like workaholic kind of sign. But again, this is normal for Earth signs because Earth signs have this mindset of they want to eliminate any and all material limitations to prevent them from being able to express their emotions properly. So like, you know how like a lot of Latino families or just like immigrant families who come to the US and minority families are just very like, I want to do everything I can to make sure that my family is financially well off.
Right.
They're financially well off, so that way they don't have to worry about money and they can focus more on their mental health side of things, on their spiritual health, their spiritual growth. In your case with this chart, this also with the Capricorn rising, it's like a very intensified fear of failure. A fear of not being successful, also a fear of being successful, and just like a fear of just not being good enough overall, along with a fear of being a burden. And again, usually when it comes to that Capricorn placement, that's where this constant, like, I need to work, I must work. It's almost like this very industrialized mindset comes from, where you almost dehumanize yourself to just a little busy worker bee to try and keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going, you know?
Yeah. I can definitely confirm that on both ends of the, the fear of failing combined with like the fear of succeeding, because it's just, I've seen so many people who have succeeded kind of like, like what that turns them into. And I always just want to stay true to like my core and what and just really the betterment of, like, to be honest, all humanity. I just don't want to turn into one of those people that's, that lets success like make them into like a completely different like person, or what success, because a lot of people are not, I feel, not truly prepared for success. They say, oh, I want money, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, and they're not like mentally prepared for what that life actually is. So I can definitely confirm that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Also, your 8th house, like, because like the 1st house and the 8th house are both ruled over by the planet Mars. And your 8th house, the 8th house, that's the house of trauma, power and control, transformation, evolution. Right. And it is in Leo.
Cramps, guys.
Leo is the sign of the performer, the entertainer, the showcaser. It's a sign of pride and loyalty. This is trauma around validation and reassurance. So people are constantly holding validation over your head and using it as blackmail, to the point where it's like, it almost feels like every success, every achievement you have, it almost feels surreal and not deserved, because you can't tell, is this a genuine achievement, or is this something that someone's going to use against me down the road? It's always like someone's stealing your spotlight, someone's invalid. Like you could have just run a fucking marathon and someone will still find a reason to take it from you. And it's almost like there's insecurities around being confident. It's like, God forbid you feel confident about something, someone will quickly come and try to humble you, even though you don't necessarily need to be humbled, because it'll be something that you rightfully deserve, you rightfully earned, and people will come in and try to ruin it. Like, for example, a Gemini. I'm saying this because there's someone who thinks you're a Gemini. Gemini and Capricorn are this aspect. It's called in conjunction. And in conjunction means irreconcilable differences. So it means that Gemini and Capricorn, their energies can't exist in the same space together, because there's no compromising with the Gemini and Capricorn energy. It's very like, okay, it's very like,
there's no relationship there.
You said what?
So like, I'm just like not skipping ahead, but like me and a Gemini is like, no.
If you decide to do a relationship with a Gemini, the way it works with the in conjunction, it's very, okay, it's your turn. Okay, it's my turn. Okay, it's your turn. That's the only way it will work with a Gemini. It's not, there is no other way to compromise. It's just not. This is specifically for Capricorn and Gemini,
Yeah. Okay, I love that.
Yeah. And also, like, who kept trying to humble you when you were growing up?
I don't know if that comes from the bullying, really, in like 7th grade. I feel like that was something as well. And then I definitely grew up in, like, my mom was definitely the main parental, where it was just like, I don't know. I feel like that was like a thing on some, like being confident wasn't like my thing. I definitely was bullied. Like the moment that I would feel like I was like right, or that I saw somebody was doing something, I would say like in terms of my mom, it was like, oh nah, bro. Like it's my like it's my world, like my way, you know, like relax, you know, because you have to always stay in a child's place. You always have to, you know, it's not like you can't be, you know, that again, it was love there for sure, but it was always like, you know, you gotta stay in a child's place. I felt like it was always like that sort of thing. So there was really no room to be, you know, like confident and then definitely like I said, 7th grade, I got bullied for like for like mad stuff. Like I was bullied for like smelling bad. I don't know, you know, I was bullied for smelling bad, for a bunch of things. I just wasn't confident at all. I didn't look nice either. It was like not it. Like I look how I look now, but like 7th grade, it was bad.
Like I'm looking at your Mars. Like Mars is the planet that say rules over the first house and the 8th house, and it's sitting in your first house. That's not a word. Your first house in the sign of Sagittarius. No, it's not. In Aquarius, where does the sexual trauma come from? Because with Mars in the first house, this is trauma around identity, where it's like there's this constant insecurity with how it's almost like you get sexualized without your consent. And then there's times where you actually want to be sexual, but no one takes you seriously. So the sexual trauma can take the form of like sexual misconduct, someone assaulted you, or it can be secondhand trauma where someone's projecting their trauma onto you and you have a lot of like survival instincts that are a product of someone training you to think that way, or it's just the awkward sexual development where it's like, it's not that anyone assaulted you, it's just that it's just that as you were getting older and coming into your body and coming into yourself, just a lot of awkward situations happen that like kind of traumatized. Or is it all of the above?
I feel as though it was definitely, I want to say like all of the above. Like I definitely had experiences where I wasn't like, I've never been full-fledged whatever, but I have experienced, you know, sexual assault to a certain extent. I've seen things. It didn't happen to me, but I saw things both, you know, TV wise that I really like. For example, I know it sounds really strange. Not that anybody would want to see that, but at a very young age, I was exposed to, you know, like I went to somebody's house and I was exposed to like porn. That was weird. At a very young age, I was like exposed to movies that included sexual assault, and that was like horrendous for me. Like I just like don't want to see it at all. A bunch of things. Like I think that even some of my trauma probably has affected me so much that it's blocked, my brain has blocked it out, like, you know, like wiped my memory of it. So that I have like chunks of moments in my life that I like, especially during my early stages of life, that I don't necessarily remember. I just remember certain instances. So that's definitely there. And yeah, I never really know, like you said, when it's like when I don't want to be, I automatically kind of assume that most people don't actually like me. They just like how I look or like the idea of me. Especially as I'm learning now with a lot of psychology, you know, that, you know, men, how like, you know, males will, like there's a theory, I believe, that there's like men don't actually sleep with, or they don't respect the women. They won't sleep with somebody that they respect, but they'll sleep with somebody that they don't respect. It's like a whole thing. So as I'm learning certain things, like it makes me that much more like and not really wanting to like even engage, because of the fact that I don't know whether somebody's engaging with me because they actually like me, or because they just like how I look and they just want to.
So you have a lot of social dysphoria as a result. Social dysphoria means like, because like Mars is like it represents anger, aggression, passion. It's also survival instincts, and it represents action. And so with Mars in the first house, it's almost like you have a lot of like social dysphoria around how you're perceived. Even if it's not even like you think you're the best looking bitch in the room. No, it's just like you walk outside, even though you live in New York, you walk outside, it's just anxiety. Who's looking at me? Who's
man, yeah.
Is somebody following me? And with Mars in Aquarius is the sign of like the humanitarian. The sign of the humanitarian is the sign of innovation, individuality, uniqueness, and like technological upgrades. Does anybody in your family have any issues of like blood circulation or like blood diseases or anything with like the shin area of the body? Because that's the body part that Aquarius represents. This can be like high blood pressure, diabetes.
I was gonna say diabetes. Like I think my family, like my grandmother, she passed recently 2020 from diabetes, and like my family, like I think that we're all predisposed or whatever to sweets, because I feel like sweets give us comfort, like sweet foods like comfort us and gives us a way to cope with. I have them, see. It gives us a way to cope, and it releases that dopamine, that comfort in order for
I say that specifically because like with this is like a medical astrology thing, you have a lot of Aquarius in your chart. All right.
I know.
So with all that, and so when people have like in every zodiac sign represents a body part. Like Capricorn is the joints. So Aquarius is the shins and the blood circulation system. So like just keep an eye on that as you get older, because like for the only medical astrology thing I've ever like done for someone is I had a lady, I think I told you this. She was pregnant when I was reading her. She was like maybe like 7 or 8 months along, and she had the sixth house in astrology is like health. And it was in Scorpio for her. And Scorpio represents the reproductive organs. And I was like, hey, go get double checked, because like you might, obviously your pregnancy is almost over, but like you might have some complications with giving birth. But go get double checked just in case. And she was like, well, I should be fine, CD, because I just got back from the doctor. She went and got checked again. All the fluid in her womb was gone.
Wow, that's crazy. So I mean, and definitely, I had leukemia when I was 9. So that right there is a blood disease, blood cancer. So I had that from when I was 9 till I went into remission when I was 15. But I did look that up in my chart, so I knew of that. It said to like keep an eye on both the blood and the heart. In terms of like, nervous system and all that stuff. So that's why I've been eating foods that are like, and exercising, because, like I said, my family and me have had, little things with health issues when it comes to the blood. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. On that.
Which brings me to my thing. Why do you keep self-sabotaging so much?
Oh my God, okay, boom. What?
So let me clarify. With Aquarius, because Aquarius is a humanitarian sign. They're very, let's do what's best for the greater good of the collective. And because they're always in that humanitarian mode, it's like they panic over everything they do, hurting a larger number of people. It's like, I have to look right, because if I don't look right, I can't inspire Black women to look good every day and to be confident in themselves. Oh my God, my eyeliner's off. I just insulted beauticians around the world with my horrible eyeliner, where it's like everything you do, it's like, this isn't good enough, that isn't good enough, this isn't good enough, that is it. But it's never, oh, I'm fine with this. Because every time you think like, I'm fine with this, then your brain's like, no, that's wrong. And then anxiety, self-gaslighting starts to happen more and more and more and more.
So I don't think, up until you just described it, I wasn't even exactly sure, which I think I could have Googled that. But I couldn't identify exactly what sabotaging I couldn't identify what exactly sabotaging was. Like, is it negative self-talk, or is it like
overcompensating and doing a self-fulfilling prophecy where you manifest the thing that you were afraid of happening in the first place? So for example, I was like, oh, he's probably going to cheat on me. I think he's going to cheat on me. He's totally going to cheat on me, when he wasn't. But because you kept saying it, he eventually just went and did it anyway. Because like, you might as well, if that's all you're going to accuse him of.
I've definitely done that in my relationships, where I'm like, oh, he's going to cheat. Because I was like, oh, like, nah, like I'm whatever. And like, he's going to cheat on me. Like, he's for sure going to cheat on me. There's no way that he's not going to cheat on me, because da, 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 da. And then literally that stuff happened. And so yeah, I think it was one about, I wouldn't know what it was exactly, like if it was just negative self-talk, if it was you know, or if I wanted to rest, like if that was a form of, which I felt had to do with like my whole
procrastinating
Saturn.
is self-sabotage, yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. So it would be like, what I would be confused about, what is the thin line between me resting and then me procrastinating, you know, like feeling as though
the sabotage would be like, oh, I shouldn't even, like if you're making a song, it's like, oh, this song sounds bad anyway, nobody wants to hear it, I should just throw it out, you know. Or if you have like if you have a bunch of like really good songs that just never been released because you were too scared to send them to anybody, that's a form of self-sabotage. Procrastinating on a song is self-sabotage. Like a lot of just like if it or for like, for example, there was an ex friend of mine where his art was being shown in a big art gallery, really popular art gallery, and then after the showing was over, he threw it all away. He like took his art and like threw it in the trash because he said that it wasn't good enough, despite the fact that it's in a gallery being displayed. In a gallery.
No, I definitely I always feel as though I want to give quality. Like, I'm like, I don't want to give anybody on some like Nicki Minaj. Like, if I accepted the pickle juice, then that's what I'm going to get. And so at a certain point, I think that it clashes, the whole self-sabotaging clashes with my Capricornness of like wanting it to be like it to be perfect, that I never you know, that I never come out and I'll be like, well, no, I don't feel like this is of quality, or I'll put something out and it doesn't get the reaction that I feel as though it should get. And so then if it doesn't, like, for example, I'm not gonna lie to you, like my last release, like my EP, I put it out and I did like the promo for it and whatever, and like I put it out and then like it didn't get the amount of streams or the amount of whatever that I was expecting. And it kind of shot where I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna promote it. Like, I'm just gonna move on to the next project. I'm not even gonna like think about it anymore. And to where people, because before I was known for my TikToks and, you know, the things that I'm doing now on my social media platforms, I was mostly known for, you know, with everybody else that knew me in like physical life, for my music. And now people are asking me, while I just put out an EP, and they're asking me, like, people were asking me like, oh, you still doing music? And I'm like, I literally just released the EP that I had like one thing. But yeah, I don't know, that's something that it's the combination of like, I want to give people quality and I don't want to put out just flimsy bullshit. And that's what. But
if you like it, how is it not quality?
Well, that's why I started. Like, that's why this year was when I really, you know, shifted that focus, and why I just started putting out whatever TikToks that I found funny and whatever videos that I found, you know, that I liked. And I started getting comfortable with, you know, one video might get this amount of likes, but then another video and another thing, you might get a couple of whatever likes on the first day you put it out, but then you leave it up and it allows more people or whoever to, you know, for you to get exposed to more people. And then you never know, like a day or a week or later or a month later, that one very video can blow up. So I started this year to shift that focus. I'm doing what I need to do to stay in that pocket, especially because I have a bunch of projects and things that I'm working on right now that I'm about to release in 2022, especially the beginning. So I'm like keeping that in me, like, yes, give quality for sure. Like, don't be like flimsy, whatever, but same time, like,
what determines quality?
To me, like the quality of, for me, what I
so music that you like.
Yeah, the music that I like. Mm-hmm. The writing that I like, the type of videos that I like, whether that's comedy, whether it doesn't, you know, whatever stuff, the quality that I like, and just putting it out there. And I don't need, okay, so I do sometimes be like, I'm gonna run away and like not look at it, because I feel like I feel like that's why IG ended up making that feature to where you can we become obsessed with numbers. And I'm happy that they have that feature on, you know, your pictures or whatever like that, where you could change it to just whoever and others, because that used to like really like nag me, the numbers, because in my brain, my ego would go to, you know, this amount of numbers means that you're succeeding, and this amount of numbers means that you're whatever. And I feel like the ego is acting out of survival mode And on, where it's like, if I get more likes, that means more possible money.
What you're saying is you stop disassociating from your emotional needs. Why? Or you're going to, at least. Because with all these Aquarius placements, Aquarius is the least emotional, least romantic, least sexual, least touchy-feely sign in the zodiac. And they'll be like, I don't want sex because there's people dying in the world. People are like, what does that have to do with it? It's almost like your Venus is in Aquarius too, and which means you desire like romance socially and materialistically, you desire uniqueness, you desire innovation, you desire strong individuality. So like the way I describe like love planets that are in Aquarius, I'm like, picture Clark Kent, but he works for Habitat and Humanity. Or picture T'Challa, but he's a book nerd.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I did. Well, one, in a partner, I hate boring. I can't deal with the boring because I don't like boring-ish. As I feel like you have one life, you're here to live the life that you have, and I feel like that would be super boring to just be like
picking yourself apart constantly and talking about how like your music's good, but I'm not going to show it because you're picking yourself apart again and again and again over numbers, and you want it to be high quality, but then you put out high quality, but then you shit on yourself because it's not getting the numbers you want, even though you just said you're not to stop worrying about numbers. And it's just back and forth with, I want to be successful, but I want to be validated by the masses. And I want everyone to recognize me for my individual uniqueness. But at the same time, I don't want to be perceived and held to certain social norms. But at the same time, I want the masses to validate me so I can be the social norm. But at the same time, I don't want to be the social norm because I don't want to be the system. But then again, you're a Capricorn. So you need structure and organization, but you don't want to be the system. So you tear down the system, but now you've lost all your structure.
You see how it's not messed up, but you see how complex the brain or the being is. It's like, I don't want to, but I want to.
That's what happens when you have too much Aquarius in your chart, or too many air signs in general. Because Libra and Gemini do this too, but like Aquarius does it like the most obnoxiously.
So my thing is like, I feel all of this obviously because I'm inside myself. I just don't know what to do with it all.
Therapy, but also, do you want to
therapy? I'm still in
longer therapy. Do you want to know your soulmate planet? Do you want to know your soulmate planets?
Sure. So guys,
like
my soulmate
sounded
planet.
like a no. Do you
No, I want to know. No, I want to know. I feel, why I want to know? And I'm not saying this because I just want whatever, but because I feel as though my chart is all of this, and my soulmate and other people as well, which is like what, I'm having this interaction with you right now, is going to help me. Like, me alone, I can't do it alone. Not that I can't, but it'd be very difficult to do it alone. And I feel like
you'll be happy to know you don't need a soulmate, actually. Your chart is set up a certain way. You actually need a twin flame. You need a twin flame, not a soulmate.
What is that? What's the difference?
A soulmate is like when two souls kind of merge into one singular energy. Whereas it's like when someone's like, you're my missing half, you're a part of me. Your soulmate is a part of you. Your twin flame is an extension of you. They're not necessarily a merger with you. These are two separate energies that they're working as a single unit, but they're not existing as a single unit. Whereas a soulmate is you're existing as a single unit, So there's 3 planets to look at. So there's Eros. Eros represents like uncontrollable romantic and sexual attraction. This is like stupid in love energy, like crazy in love energy. Like sneak out the house at 9 p.m. and come back at 9 a.m. pretend like nothing ever happened, that type of energy. Your Eros is in Aries. This does not mean you need to date an Aries. What does it mean? So it just means that like you like boys with goblin energy. Like if he has crackhead energy, if he's just so stupid and goofy, you just want to sucker punch him. If he goes from like really, really awkward to like awkward and nerdy to then having you on the wall, pinch against the wall, there's that energy. If he's also like, what's the word? if he's also like what's the word? Not like I don't know. I need another example. Like like static, like not like Static Shock, Beast Boy type energy.
I mean that's what I've always been attracted to. It's like I've always been attracted to very nerdy, like or dorky type of guys. Like for example, like I said, Beast Boy. What's the guy from Criminal Minds? What's his name? The really smart one.
I don't watch Criminal Minds, so I don't know.
Oh my God, what? Okay. All right. So basically it's just like, the
Reed. Someone said
like,
Reed.
Reed. Yeah, there we go. Reed. It's really that he's an like intellectual, like super intellectual, super dorky, whatever, nerdy type, but then just sexual. Like.
Also, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have 2.
Older or younger?
They're both older.
What are their signs?
Brother's Leo, sister's Virgo. I was learning that I might need to take some.
God. If you're going to mention your sister, put the word God or goddess in front of it. That's how we acknowledge Virgos in this house. Just say.
Well, the goddess, Virgo, ma'am, she's the oldest, which makes sense. The god, the firstborn, the first to appear, the hierarchy. And then my brother's the middle, and then I'm the youngest.
Okay. So then, like, my other question is like, well, not the other. Have the signs that you dated, have they resembled your brother in any way? Because your Eros is sitting in your 3rd house, and the 3rd house is the house of siblings. And so, and Eros is in a fire sign, and your brother's a fire sign. I was like, okay, is your brother dorky and nerdy, or is he loud and obnoxious, or is he all of the above?
No, I don't know. My brother's kind of, how would I describe you, sir? He's like, I mean, he's a gamer for sure.
So nerdy.
So I guess nerdy, but very like strong. Like he's a nerd who's super strong type of vibe.
So basically, picture like a musclehead Dorito boy who goes to anime conventions.
He's not big, like he's slim, like but he has that.
So a giraffe that goes to anime conventions who has abs.
Right. Right.
I mean, I'm tall too, so I'm just like a giraffe squad.
Right. Exactly. But he's not like super nerd, but he's definitely a gamer. There's a difference. Not an anime nerd, but a gamer nerd for sure.
I mean, same thing.
This is very true, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, I would say there are certain features, yes, not some of my other exes though, which is kind of weird. I would say this.
There's another planet. There's your Psyche. Psyche represents love in its purest, most innocent form, like the most like unfiltered, uncontaminated, like the most innocent, most purest of love. In mythology, Psyche was Eros's wife. You know, your Psyche planet. Where is Psyche? She's in Gemini.
Okay, what does that mean?
So picture like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like the black scientist, and then Bill Nye the Science Guy coming together to have like a conversation about toast and asparagus.
What the?
Exactly. Like it is the most like of all the things we're talking about, why this? But it's also like, why not? It's like, it's very stop and smell the roses type energy. You know, it's this energy of just like someone who stimulates your mind over the silliest, most irrelevant things that you shouldn't find stimulating whatsoever, but they somehow can make you laugh. They make you feel chill. It's a vibe. You're just going with the flow. Lots of words of affirmation, lots of quality time, lots more like just a lot of like hands-on interaction, not sexual, just like active interaction with the partner.
Geminis are scary. I know they are. So wait, what? So obviously, again, is it the same thing with the other one where it was like, it doesn't mean you need to date an Aries? Is it the same thing? You don't need to date a Gemini. You just need to date somebody that obviously can.
Yes.
But how do I find someone? I don't even know. How do you find somebody like that?
There. But I'm joking. No, it's not. But it's like, I was like, you get on dating apps and you actually like sit down and get to know the boy. and like find ways to
I've
communicate.
been very reluctant to do that. I thought about that this week, to be honest, where I was like, I may or may not join a dating app. But I've been so reluctant because the last time I tried, okay, sir.
I mean, consider there's the dating app, and then there's the men that are in your live stream comments.
I've tried the only dating app I've ever tried was Bumble, because I thought Tinder was like, oh, just hook up stuff.
It's funny because
I want to try like a long distance situation, like outside of my race.
So what I'm hearing is, I'm so afraid of relationships that I'm going to keep them at such a far distance, so that way I can maintain some level of control.
No, I'm just saying that I want somebody. I don't know the
and not actually commit to being vulnerable with them in person, because I know that I don't trust myself to make my emotions properly in person, and I'm scared of being vulnerable with someone and letting them see my weak side. Because in a weird way, I view my emotions as a weakness, even though they're not a weakness. In a way where you view them as a weakness.
It's just very. It's very difficult. I don't know how I feel about it. CD's like looking at me like I'm trying my best here. Okay.
Best here what?
I'm trying my best to be vulnerable. It's super icky.
No, this is how you do it. So you have all these air signs in your chart, right? Now, with all these air signs are not they're not like water signs. I always say that I think people use water signs too much as a point of reference when it comes to emotional expression. They're not the best references all the time, because water signs like to sit there and wallow in it. Air signs are, they think their emotions. They have to talk it out. You have mostly air in your inner planets. So if you don't talk out your emotions, if you don't hear the words that describe what you're feeling, you will never truly be able to process what you're feeling. It's not like water signs where they're just like, oh my God, I'm so sad, my heart. Like, no, that's not how air signs do it. Like they need to sit there and talk about it. They don't have to necessarily like bawl over crying. Like if you're angry, go talk to somebody about how you're angry, or go write it down. It doesn't have to be.
So I have a question. Do you think that that's the reason why, in terms of the thinking and the talking? Because I definitely agree with that, because in all my relationships, in terms of problem solving or like conflict resolution, I have to talk about it. I can't just And so I feel the same way in terms of when people like me. I can't just go by what I feel. Like I can't depend on what I'm feeling. I have to physically hear. I usually go on. I feel as though I go for more what I hear, and then what I really XYZ. I need somebody to tell me. Like, you just coming out and thinking I'm gonna guess, or I'm gonna just feel how you're feeling. I can't do that. Like, you either have to physically show me. Like, I need proof. Like, I need proof. I need fact. I need the words. Like, that whole like feeling ish is like not my.
You feel it when you talk, though. That's the thing. Like, air signs.
Right. I feel it when I talk. Right. But I don't like. In general, just like, oh, like I feel like, no, like I need to physically see that you actually like me.
I'm talking about your feelings.
Huh?
I'm talking about your feelings, not the other person. Yours.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you feel like do you feel as though, or do you think as though, whichever one, that I operate in that way because of the air sign situation?
Yeah, think of it like this. It's like air pressure. Like, when you don't talk about it, it's like a balloon about to pop, or it's like a gas tank about to explode. Because when air signs talk things out, the air. Think of it like physics. When air starts to speed up, and it starts speeding up, and it gets really intense, the molecules start going faster and faster. What happens? Combustion. And what does that turn into? Lightning. What does lightning sometimes cause? Fire.
Right.
Because air fuels fire. It's called gaslighting.
It's called gaslighting.
So you're not necessarily, it's not necessarily gaslighting yourself though. It's stimulation. You know, it's like a windmill. You know, if you can't keep the air flowing, it's not going to turn into energy, the energy you need to process your emotions properly. Because fun fact, your Juno is your planet of marriage and long-term relationship. And it's the planet of like the twin flame and the soulmate. And your Juno is in, I don't know if I like that. Your Juno is in Capricorn.
Which
however,
before.
It's 29 degrees in Capricorn. So it's like, it's Capricorn when they finally become content with their achievements. All right. So this is
impossible. Well, not impossible. Nothing's impossible.
It's not impossible. You just have to allow yourself to be, you have to allow it. You have to allow yourself to be proud of yourself. And you have to allow yourself to not base your entire personality off of your mother's inner criticisms of yourself. Because with that 7th house in Cancer, 7th house in Cancer tells me that, like, because this Cancer is a sign of the mother and the home and the family, which means that your family plays a huge influence in how you manage certain relationships. Is mom going to approve? Is grandpa going to approve? Are the brothers going to, is the sister going to approve? If grandpa doesn't like the boyfriend got to go. But what if you love the boyfriend and y'all get along, but grandpa doesn't like the boyfriend? You know, are you going to sacrifice that entire relationship because grandpa doesn't like the boyfriend? What are you going to do? You know, your family influences heavy amounts of your relationships. And so like anyone who you consider family, they basically can have a say in who you date and who you don't date. And even though you're like, I'm an independent woman, I don't need society or family norms to tell me what to do, when you know damn well you're going to turn around and be like, I'm doing what's best for my family by dating this person.
That was a lot. See, he's like laying it on. I just gotta look at the thing. Let me just. Oh my god.
What were you saying?
No, I was like looking at the thing. Yeah. And I was looking at the lives to see if anybody was like, yeah. I think also it's the opposite way too. On sometimes I get a little bit of like that because I know that eventually I'm going to have to introduce the person to my family and my siblings. Cool. Grandfather. Cool. It's the madre that I'm always kind of concerned with the people of the meeting, because that's a lot. Like that is a lot. Especially because
that goes back to your Juno though. Your long-term relationships have to be based off who makes you feel the most secure. Like the man or woman you date long-term, if they don't make you feel secure, as in like security that transcends your family, like even if your family was like, hey, we're moving to Brazil, deuces out, we're leaving you here, and you still felt safe, like that's the foundation of your long. I'm not saying he has to be daddy because that's just daddy issues, but like if he or she can't make you feel that level of stability and security, then that's not the right person for you.
Right. Which is why I end up in all of my, even in terms of liking somebody or whatever may be, the moment that I feel them being flaky, I'm immediately like, even in the talking stages, I'm immediately trying, like within 2 months of knowing each other, at least in my past, within me like 2 months of like knowing the person, like if I don't feel as though they're like, because I feel like you should know, that's at least again what I thought, is like if you don't know and you're not secure and you don't feel secure, I'm definitely dipping, bro. I'm not gonna play the game. Like I'm not gonna play the game of trying to like, I don't believe in the whole going with the flow shit. Like I don't believe in that. That to me is like a way to drag people along like forever. And so if I like with anybody, now I'm like, it's either you like me, bro, or you don't. If you don't like me, you're not secure. You can't make me feel secure. Like, I feel like that's more like attachment issues though than anything.
I told you, that's what I said. Aquarius is the least emotional everything. They suck at emotion.
I suck at emotions. I'm like, absolutely.
But that's the thing is like when people have all those air signs in their chart, it's just a matter of like intelligence. Like, yeah, and the thing is like, not, how do I say? Even if he's like really, really smart and really, really intellectual, if he can't apply any of the shit he's learning or he's talking to you about, he's used to throw him away. Like, he can be the smartest person in the room. If there's no skill sets to follow up all that brain power, he's useless. Throw him away.
Throw him away.
Because all I know is like even though I'm from the good old South, I go to New York sometimes. I'm like, who are all these thug preachers on the streets acting like they Jesus?
No, it's a fact. Is if you can't apply what you're saying that you know or whatever it is, and I can't physically see that in your day-to-day life, then you're just talking out of your ass and you're literally useless to me.
So like, in other words, you'd be like, are you dead ass, bro? He has to be dead ass. Like
both
dead and an ass.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a whole fact. Like, you have to be dead ass. I don't feel like anything should
disclaimer. Like, that does not mean that your soulmate is a male Capricorn.
No, I know that. Yeah.
Like male Capricorns, male Capricorns got them daddy issues and that's masculinity issues. And Cancer men got those mommy issues. Like, if you think female Capricorns have that fear of failure, here's the thing. On a scale from like 1 to 12, 1 being the most emotional, 12 being the least emotional, Capricorn is an 11, Aquarius is a 12.
Wow. I can feel that. Like, I feel I go more off of intellectual than my emotions, which is like.
Well, let's talk about your communication issues then.
Oh, fucking A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Love that.
We love it.
First, you are the most. You say you're good at confrontation. You suck at confrontation. Your third house is in Pisces.
I hate confrontation. I don't like it.
Your third house, which is the house of like communication, that's in Pisces. And so, third house in Pisces. Third house is how you learn to communicate and how you develop your natural talents. You have a natural intuition. Now, mind you, intuition is not the same thing as empathy. All right. Empathy is when you can absorb somebody's emotions and feel their emotions and feel their experiences through their shoes and through their eyes.
Right.
Oftentimes, intuitive people mistake themselves for being empaths, and it's the most annoying thing ever. All right. Like, I'm an empath, and
somebody said she's a Libra moon. Of course, she hates confrontation. That's a fact, bro. I don't like confrontation at all. I avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, like they'll say I'm an empath, and then give you their interpretation of your emotions instead of just telling you what you feel. Like that's your interpretation. That's not how I actually feel, you know? And like intuitive people are really good at telling when someone is sad. Again, that's not empathy. You can just tell when someone's sad. You can read the vibes. It does not mean you feel what's going on. Right. You know? Right. And so like, but the thing is Pisces beats around the bush a lot. Mm-hmm. Which means that you beat her. Like, here's the ending: is your Mercury. You don't communicate like a Capricorn. You don't talk like a Capricorn. No. You talk like an Aquarius. And so what tends to happen is people take you way too seriously or not serious enough. And part of the issue is like, honestly, a lot of the stuff you say could be said in like less than 10 words, but you say it in like 3 billion words.
Oh my God, it's so true.
I don't mean that in a mean way. No.
I'm taking this all as constructive criticism here.
No, I like it when you ramble because I'm just like, yes, deep conversation.
Yeah, like I like to ramble. Like I feel like let's chat it up, man. Like really, let's talk about it. I definitely don't like confrontation. I feel like that also came from the growing up because that was like not like having opposing sides was like not a thing. Like it's like not a thing. It's
like,
why
you daydream so much?
Excuse me.
Is that why you daydream so much and you run away so much?
Is that why I daydream so much and run away and escapism? Absolutely.
Yeah, and you create a false reality in your head to escape from the real world, and so that way, like, you don't find anything in IRL, just so that way, like, but what ends up happening is that you end up just being super controlling in the same way your mom is, but like in a very like, literally pulled this out of my head. I'm going to try to apply this, even though I literally pulled it out of my head and I didn't ask you for your consent of whether I could apply this to you. And thus I'm projecting my own traumas from my mother onto you. Congratulations, I become my mother.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. And yeah. You know, and I think a lot of people, we all, especially me, like, we all try, or at least, I can't say all, obviously, but a lot of us really try to not be like our parents. And then we end up being exactly like our parents in like weird little ways. But yeah, like, no, definitely the avoiding confrontation and then the daydreaming. Because I get a lot of, I feel very intellectual. And so you see how, okay, boom. So you see how we're talking about how, you know, the whole becoming the mom and the controlling and all those sorts of things. So it's so conflicting because that right there is why I will tend to wear out self-sabotage and be like, you know what, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to be controlling or come out and whatever, XYZ and act like I fucking know everything when I don't. And I want people to make their own choices and have their own mind. And so that's where I get the conflicting of when is it time to provide my wisdom and when is it time to shut the fuck up? And my mind
when you stop being afraid of the unknown, that's when.
What the hell? What? When I stop being afraid of the unknown.
Yes, when you stop being afraid of the future.
In terms of what situation? I mean,
the future. The situation hasn't happened yet.
I mean, in general. I mean, we're talking about in conversations. We're talking about just in general life. We're talking about what we're talking about with this.
Everything. It's the future. It hasn't happened yet. You can't specify because it hasn't happened yet.
Because it hasn't happened yet. You know, hey, that's something that I've definitely been working on, having more faith in the universe. I feel as though I didn't have a lot of faith in whatever you want to call this.
Also, to clarify everybody in your live stream, I am reading the chart, but the information I'm saying is not on the chart. This is coming from like my brain and my interpretation. I'm like, Astro Cafe. I can't read Astro Cafe. Be using a lot of big words.
He's giving his again your interpretation of the chart.
Yes.
So that everybody can understand.
Tell me, why are you so emotionally indecisive in your relationships? And because it seems like you're emotionally indecisive in your relationships, and when it comes to your work ethic, you have commitment issues, or more so just like, even though you don't like flaky people because you're flaky, and you can't have people flaking out on you before you can flake out on them. It's a power thing. Yeah.
Is that what you mean in terms of emotionally in my relationships?
So there's two, because 7th house is relationships, and it's in Cancer, mother, father, and right. Cancer is like, I feel this. No, I feel this. No, I feel this. No, I feel this. And they can't decide on what they feel. Their emotions are all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like everything is always changing. Like, it's always changing, and that's something that I've learned, again, something that I don't like to view, all of the things that we're reading right now and parts of myself to be like, to avoid them and whatever like that. But I want to use these very things as superpowers. And so I've identified that particular part in my chart where it's like, I'm very like forever changing. And it's because if I feel as though if I get facts or more information that can change my opinion, I feel like people should change their opinion. I feel like you should never be so rooted in an opinion or in a whatever that you like never change. So to me, it's like, I can feel, for example, in a relationship, I don't know, like I can feel as though somebody said something wrong to me, or I felt hurt by something, and then me learning that whatever happened in their past or their trauma is the reason why they said it. that might end up changing how I feel about the situation. So then it's like, you know, kind of here and there. So I feel like that might play a part in that as well. Also, I don't know where ADHD falls in terms of all of that, because I be feeling and thinking like within seconds.
It means that you're constantly, it's in a way, it's like you're constantly looking for a sense of purpose.
Yeah. I'm never sure if I'm never sure if I'm on the right path.
Why? Why do you not trust yourself? Because you know you're not a failure. You know you deserve love and affection. So why can't you trust yourself to pursue it? Is it because mom said you weren't worthy enough?
No, my mom called me a miracle child, so it's not that.
Did you almost kill her? I know you almost died, but like, miracle child what?
No, like, because I think to someone from her generation, anybody surviving cancer is like a miracle from God. So I was just immediately from that point on, it was like miracle child, miracle child, miracle baby, miracle baby, miracle baby. So I never felt that way, but I was left alone consistently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can tell you something as well. Get in the habit of narrating yourself.
What? Titi, what does that mean?
Narrating yourself means you have to state your intentions and the context behind your intentions before you say or do the next thing. Because it puts you in a position where it allows you to communicate the who, what, when, where, how, why. So no one can twist your words, but it also allows you to get a good look at who's actually listening to your words. You know, because a lot of times will be, especially when your Mercury's not in the same sign as your sun sign, like I said, you are a lot more prone to having your words twisted and tried to use against you, and your intentions and your emotions used against you, you know? And so in doing that, it allows you to have a little bit more control over your narrative in the room, but it also allows a bit more space for people to come to their own conclusions, and you can observe their thought pattern and their thinking pattern, if that makes sense.
My Mercury is in what again?
Aquarius.
Oh, Aquarius.
Because it'll help you from talking yourself into gaslighting yourself. Because sometimes air signs they'll be talking and they'll be like, and the more they talk, the angrier they get about something that they weren't originally angry about. You know? And so like it'll just be like, yeah, this happened to me. Wow, yeah, that happened to me. Damn, this happened to me. Motherfucker, that happened to me.
Yeah. Oh my God. When it comes to like trauma or things that have happened in my past, in the moment, I don't, not that I won't realize what's going on, what's happening, but it won't really like full-fledged hit me until I start after the situation is over. And then I start talking to myself and replaying what has actually happened. And then I get like super angry because I'm like, wow, these people kind of like did this and did that and felt like they could do that to me. And then I get angry at myself for not being like awake or conscious enough or alert enough to make sure that didn't happen. So then I would get angry in general at both myself and other people. Mm-hmm. How do we find out this planet talk stuff? Oh my gosh.
Follow me. I don't know how to.
Follow Steve E. I tagged him in the thing, but I also like we can pin comments, right?
Yeah. Oh, should I type? Hold on, let me think. Hold on. Reading. Hold on. I'll type something. Hold on. Readings. Because I've low-key been watching that the whole time. You said what?
Are you in my live?
Yeah, I was low-key. I was reading some of the comments the whole time because I'm just like, what?
No, my phone was off. Okay, yeah. CD has his. How do you pin?
You have to like tap it, like maybe I think tap it. Wow, like tap it once, tap it twice, or maybe tap it and hold it. Not entirely.
Okay, no, I got it. It's pinned. You guys can see the pinned comment. That's CD. He's give me reading.
Yes, Flan paid me for this reading, y'all. So she's getting like everything we're talking about stuff that she paid for.
Money. I'm sorry, what was the last thing we just said? Because I just forgot.
Your communication issues and narrating yourself.
Oh, narrating myself. So like my intent was to say my intention is to XYZ.
So for example, like, I'm thinking, hey, I'm gonna go catch the A train to Manhattan because I have a meetup in Times Square at 5:00. If I don't call you, it's because I'm busy and I'm focused on what's in front of me. That's narrating yourself. And it's so easy to do. Or for example, it's like, hey, I have to work overtime this week, or I'm going to be in the studio for a while, so I'm going to go meal prep. So if you hear me clicking and clanging and singing and dancing in the kitchen, I'm making food. Just ignore that.
If you hear me click like it.
Yeah, if you hear me clicking and clanging in the kitchen, you know what it's about. You know, I tried to say that in a Southern accent, but my brain went to New York. You know, and so like that's what happens though. Like it's like you're saying that it's almost like your own personal disclaimer system.
No, yeah.
Because like imagine like if you give that disclaimer out and then something like let's say it's like, how dare you? And you're like, I literally said what I was gonna do and why? Why are you screaming at me? It's not my fault you weren't listening. Like get out of my face.
Right. Okay. That's something that I definitely can apply.
Yeah. No, it saves a lot. It works a lot in arguments because people will really try to twist your words. You'll be like, but this is what I said. Like for example, I was literally
what I said.
I know it's funny. I've been reading Capricorns for the past 2 days and I don't know why. Oh, it's their birthday. Silly question. Like literally last night, remember that girl I told you about who her boyfriend was basically a narcissist?
Right.
He dumped his ass last night. I was so proud of her.
Goodness. Oh my God. I'm so happy for her. It took me.
But then called me and she was like, so my friends are all making a bet on if he's going to call me back, even though I've dumped him. So how much do you want to bet? So she lost $200 because of that bet.
Well, hey.
And because, for example, he's someone who's he's one of those I don't like to be perceived types. He was a Sag rising, Virgo sun, Scorpio moon, Leo Mercury, Leo Venus, Leo Mars. Now, mind you, that's a good chunk of my chart because I'm Virgo sun, Sag moon, Leo Venus, Leo Mars, Virgo Mercury, you know? And even I was tired. He was saying he felt like he had to distance. He was telling an ex or an ex-girlfriend / friend of his that he's seeing someone now, so they have to change the dynamic of how they interact. And he told my friend, hey, he said, I'm distancing myself sexually out of respect for, I'm like, what does you telling your ex that you're seeing someone have to do with sex with her?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
And mind you, she was about to cuss him out. And I was like, wait, hold on. He is stupid. Let's ask him for clarification. And so she's like, just to make sure I'm not misunderstanding you. And she was like, and he was like, I don't understand why you're offended. Why are you offended? Just like, you said you weren't going to have sex with your girlfriend because you had to tell your ex that you have to, what?
Strange.
Yeah, he did, even though she clarified and she said the why she's asking him and the intention behind the question, he took it personally. He took it as a personal attack for some reason. And so she was able to hang up on him and block him with so much ease because she was able to say, like, I know, she was saying, I didn't attack you in any, I asked you for clarification. You made it a personal attack against your character. I was asking for clarification. That's it.
Gotta clarify. Clarifying all 2022. I don't like none of y'all. No.
Which also means this, Flan, because when your Mercury's not in the same sign as your sun sign, it means people don't understand half the shit you say half the time. I do. Mind you, I do. I understand what you're saying. But like, there's a chance that you'll be talking to someone, they'll be like, what are you saying, girl? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And it's not even that they're taking you out of context. The assumption is that you're assuming that what you're saying is easy to understand. Whenever your Mercury is not in the same sign as your sun sign, everything makes sense in your head and in your head only. Outside of your head, it doesn't make sense.
No. That's true. And I have to like end up explaining like my explanations to people for them to like the foundation of it first and then. But my grandfather, sometimes I'll say certain things and he'll just be like, okay. Has no idea what I'm talking about, but just.
Oh, I can tell. You can see it in his face. He's just like, I'm gonna just eat. He literally has this face of just like, I'm gonna just go along with whatever it is she's saying. I don't know what she's on right now.
I kind of like that though. I mean, I want people I know in order to connect with people and all those sorts of things. But I kind of like that about myself. That you just talk. I don't know what I'm saying. But
it's okay. Someone said it's okay. We all like you, not the physical you, just the bubbly. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with the physical?
Wait, what?
Someone said it's okay. We all like you, not the physical you, but the bubbly person. I'm like, oh, well, they said they like you in concept and not reality. How do you feel? I'm joking, by the way. I am joking. But also, who left you?
Who left?
Who abandoned you?
I
asked that because your fourth house, which is your house of family, is in Aries, which means that like your emotions are in this constant state of survival mode. Why?
Oh, let me tell you. I'm always in survival mode. Why? Because I always had to survive.
All my life, I have.
All my life. For my cookie. Intermission as I eat my cookie real quick. Hold on.
And why do you disassociate from your traumas into your job? Like you use work as a form of disassociation. Why?
Okay, so let's start with the 2 first. All right. All right. The first one, since I was literally up until 9 years old, immediately from 9 till now, I've always been in survival mode, because when I was 9, I had to survive. Like I had to fight and survive cancer. Stepdad left. Biological dad is that, DEAD, not dad, DEAD. Then cancer. Right after cancer, it's not like I think people have a misconception that once you survive cancer, that like you get this like thing on life that just says you've now won life because you beat this like, threatening disease. Right after
have you met cancers? Cancers are exhausting to be with. When you get cancer,
telling you, man. Right after I went into remission, I was homeless. Like me and my mom, because my stepdad left or whatever it may be, she couldn't keep up with the rent and whatever it may be and going to work because she had to take care of a sick child. We ended up losing our like apartment or whatever. So then like my brother, my sister had to like go and like to their people's, but then like me and my mom were homeless. So I was like living, me and my mom were like staying in a 24-hour laundromat. We were like sleeping couch to couch at her friend's house or certain family members' houses, and then we went to the shelter. It was like a bunch of that. And then we finally got to Yonkers, where I was so in freshman year, where everybody else was kind of like with their families and this and the third. And I was living in a room, not an apartment, not a studio apartment, not anything. I was living in a room with my mom. My goodness. And then it wasn't until, and then when we did finally get an apartment, it was in like the worst neighborhood in Yonkers. Like in the hood, to where the apartment that we had, although it was all the way at the top and it was a clean apartment or whatever maybe, the rest of the house, like the 2 apartments at the bottom, were all like druggy junkies. And it was like terrible. So that was like what I was going through during high school.
Is
so
the oh my god person okay?
Yeah, that's my brother playing his games.
Okay, because I'm just like I'm like I was thinking like, is someone's grandma having a heart attack?
He's a gamer. So yeah, there was like a lot. And so then it went from that, and then finally I started living with my best friend. I had gotten a full ride to college, but then like 2 weeks before I was supposed to start, I couldn't. They sent me an invoice for like $2,000 for books that I did not have. My mom's credit was like, and I tried to get loans, didn't work out. So then I ended up having to work jobs instead of going to college. And then I ended up meeting a narcissist who kind of, you know, just I would say from there, because I met him when I was 19, like when we was in high school, and basically boom, groomed till now. And that whole relationship was, I was in survival mode as well. I was sticking to somebody who I thought I really loved and felt stable, but they were just kind of, you know, manipulating me, emotional abuse, whatever. I'm not gonna speak bad about him or whatever it may be, but like,
no, shit on his name. Shit on his name. Make him pay.
And then, so that, like, my whole life, as of yet, even right now, I'm like living with my grandfather. Like, I don't have my own apartment. Like, so from 9 till now,
is that why you latch on so hard to sentimental things, to material items that carry a lot of sentiment? It's almost like, in a way, because I asked that because your fifth house is your house of ego and creativity. It's also the sign of the fruits of your labor. So it's almost like whenever you have something like hypothetically, let's say you have to travel to fucking like France for something, and your grandpa's like, oh yeah, here's a picture of me in case you get lonely, you know?
Right.
See you was about to see that's the I'm about to cry face. See, that's not I'm about to cry. That's the I'm about to cry face.
I will not cry on this live. Okay.
Yeah, but
you will not Oprah me.
I'm not Oprahing anybody, but it's almost like if you go to like if you fly to France for whatever, and let's say you're having a concert in front of all those people, and then like you're singing and you look down at your wallet and there's like all the family photos you have of all the family that's still in your life, because it's like just like that's represents all the hard work you've done to get from point A to point B. So your sense of ego, your sense of pride comes from the fruits of your labor. So like if someone's like, oh my God, I heard your song and you got me out of a really bad depression spell and I was suicidal, but because I heard your music, I'm not suicidal anymore.
You're not gonna be crying the goddamn lie. I'm just gonna continue talking. I'm just gonna be over here for like a couple of minutes. or someone's like, I thought I was ugly, but listening to your music made me realize that I can be beautiful no matter what, that kind of thing. Or if someone was like, I got kicked out of my parents' house, but I was listening to your songs on the way to, and now I have an apartment, and I still blast your songs as my good luck charm. That type of thing. So that is your sense of confidence. Like it comes from the fruits of your labor, and so I think as much as you're like, is it good enough? Is it good enough? Is it good enough? As long as it's almost like how Lady Gaga says when she's like, there could be 100 people in the room and 99 of them could hate you, but as long as there's one person that's satisfied, then you're fine. As long as one person is touched by something you do emotionally, spiritually, mentally, why give a fuck about whether it looks perfect or not? Oh, I mean, I've had those like, no, that I feel as though, yes, I feel that way. I've had plenty of my followers hit me up in the DM, like just kind of tell me like, you know, keep doing what you're doing. This is helping me so much, you know, XYZ. And it makes me feel so great to know that I'm helping people, or just like whoever it is, one person, whatever. I speak to some of my followers like in depth about their lives. Sometimes I feel like, or not bad, but just like I wish I could do more for them, because I know they're facing things that I've never faced before and that I really wouldn't wish on anybody.
Did you ever consider the fact that your authenticity is the best you can do for them? Because what you're doing for them is being your most authentic self, despite the struggles that you've been through?
Well, now I'm moving into that. I just now got there, which is crazy.
You just got there? Where you been, sis? We've been waiting.
Where I'm just like, my authentic self is like the best thing I can do for people. Just literally just being me and not hiding myself. And it's like literally, it can help a bunch of people. And of course, it's going to help at least one person, but definitely me being me is going to empower a lot of people, and that's what I'm moving into now. So I'm getting comfortable with just like be yourself, you know, just you're good. Don't use too much of the head. Sometimes just whatever you're feeling.
So you finally became comfortable with your femininity as well as your masculinity?
I'm just now, and I'm saying that with I'm just dipping the toe in the femininity. Not gonna hold it.
I said walk.
How so?
How so am I dipping my toe into femininity?
Yes.
Definitely I know that masculine energy has a lot to do with, rules, structure, whatever. I'm just now dipping my toe in femininity in terms of one, tapping more into my creativity, the flow of things, like not trying to control, like clench life like this. Just really taking my time, going with the flow, just seeing how I'm feeling energy wise, situational wise, getting more comfortable with myself sexually, where I'm just like, okay, understanding her, which is why I was, full on celibacy, just understanding her, letting my emotions flow without over analyzing my emotions, if that makes sense. Like sometimes you just have to feel ish and not like overcomplicate it. I gotta do more research, or like I gotta connect with more people on how to. As you can see, I dress like a boy, so I'm trying to like get used to just like I love pants. I absolutely do not like. I like dresses.
I mean, hey, Lil Nas says he can't trust pants anymore.
That person there, I tell you, I love him. My sister can't stand him, but I love him. But yeah, I'm just getting. Oh, hi, kitty baby. But just getting comfortable with myself. Why? What insight do you kind of take from that? Like in terms of getting comfortable with femininity?
It's more so acknowledging that femininity doesn't look a certain way. Because with Libra, because you have to remember, like Libra is a trans, like you're with your moon sign in Libra. Libra is a trans. Oh wait, with your fourth, I just realized with your fourth house being in Aries, and the fourth house being how you developed your emotions, Aries as a sign struggles with feminine energy completely. And because again, the moon rules over the fourth house. So the experience that your moon sign became developed from experiences that really made it hard for you to, like, in the mythology of Aries, the girl who would have been the feminine part of Aries fell into the ocean and drowned.
Oh, that's fun.
Because their parents were trying to sacrifice them to this demon monster thing. So this golden ram came and saved them. And they were flying over the ocean and she fell asleep and fell off the gun. And as a result, this is why Aries women's, like Aries as a sign struggles with feminine energy. Whereas like Libra as a sign struggles with masculine energy, Which are Libras, like I said, Libra, actually no, Aries struggles with feminine energy. Libra is more so a lot more in touch with the feminine side.
Say again?
Libra is a lot more in touch with the feminine side because Libra is a transgender sign. So people who have Libra placements kind of do this thing where it's like, like I said, like if you have strong Libra placements, you probably have a very selective set of friend groups where it's the same sex. Like I said, like small group of genuine, honest to God girlfriends, lots of casual guy friends.
Right.
And for male Libras, it's the other way around. It's like a small group of genuine guy friends and a collective of casual girlfriends.
No, I have like genuine girl friends who are girls, or whatever. Like soulmate, like these are my like rock hard, and then it's like guys that are like they're like friends, like Mitchell and Darius and Sim, and and my friend Josiah is the one guy that's like my really close friend. But he's a Taurus and he tends to be flaky just because he has relationship stuff, so he just got.
Didn't hear a word you just said. He's flaky. No, I heard Josiah, but he's a Taurus and I was like, what?
he himself is kind of like all over the place. So it's not that we're not close, it's that he's always somewhere. Like it's hard to get him in one location, if that makes sense. So like we talk every day, but it's hard to get him in the physical to get somewhere.
Wow.
Well,
the men in your chat are very interesting. Can I just say? You said what?
Come here. You said the men in who?
That the men in your live stream are very interesting. Can I just say?
I don't understand them. Like sometimes, like I love, like what do y'all talk about?
I'm just like y'all. Just, I'm like, they just be here thirsting. I'm like collab. I was like, hate you. I was like, who is this guy?
Can I finally get that collab, or you still hate me? And I'm like,
who are you?
I'm not who. Like yeah, like I really genuinely. It's not It's not I think what's called Hollywood or whatever like that. It's not a Hollywood thing. I genuinely don't. Like I have to be reminded of who you are. Like I can't go by. Listen, my mind span, guys, is like
ADHD. You have ADHD. You have ADHD. That's the answer. You have ADHD.
Okay, like I will forget you. Like
and forget her too. Said if
like,
I was rich.
Okay. I will forget you. Okay.
Also, question: how was school?
I'm always in and out of school, to be honest with you.
Go. Because your moon sign is like in your 9th house, which is like education. And so I'm like, okay.
Intellectual. I'm always learning. I'm always taking, if I'm not in physical school, I'm always taking a course. I'm always reading a new book. I love knowledge. I love hearing and
is that when you're the hardest on yourself?
Say again?
It's your chart's implying that because your 9th house is in Virgo, so it implies that you are the hardest on yourself when you are like learning something. Like that's when you're really like ripping yourself a new one. Like you're really like, yes, you're the most analytically observant and the most hyper analytical, but that's also when you're the most critical of yourself when you're learning something new.
Yes. Because if I'm learning something new and it feels like, and it feels as though I have to question myself on some, why didn't I know this earlier? Or why was I so fucking dumb to not see this earlier? Or to that sort of thing, then yeah, I'm ripping myself a new one. Or if I'm not getting something, or I feel as though I'm not getting it, I'll either be like really hard on myself, or I will completely just like drop the subject and be like, well, that's that. Like I obviously can't get it. Like, and I'm talking about like early on in the game. If I early on in the game can't understand something or can't seem to grasp it, I get annoyed at myself because I want to do it all for myself. I want to know it all. And I know that's a problem because obviously we can't know it all. And what else? And that means that that would imply that I'm going to have to probably rely on somebody else to give me that information. And the probability I have trust issues with people and them giving me like substantial facts versus them and not them just saying something from an article that they read one time, because I feel like people have pulled the wool over people's
like that
eyes.
dude who said that vaccines give you autism. I was just like, I was like, wait, how did we get here? What? I'm so lost.
I feel like a lot of this world, I mean, not even this world, but specifically America, I don't like that we don't realize until we're literally all the way outside of school, like outside in the adult world, realizing that we were fucking brainwashed and that they were feeding us absolute bullshit in that school system. And I don't like that because
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. What baffled me was that it was the other way around for me. Where like I thought when I was learning in school, everyone else knew. And then people were like, oh my God, CD, you're so smart. You're so smart. I'm like, no, I'm not. This is literally like 5th grade history. What the fuck? But then I realized that the school system I went to it's like Virginia's where everything was founded. So we kind of have to learn everything again and again and again and again, you know?
Yeah, fun. I just don't like that. I put an emphasis, and I came to this realization while I was at before I had left my 9 to 5. I had came to this realization while I was like sitting there at my job, and I went to the bathroom and I realized I was like, like I kind of asked myself, why do I like education so much? Why do I put such an emphasis on learning and knowledge, whatever it may be? And it's because I realized that if I had had the knowledge, or if somebody had taught me certain things at a certain point, I wouldn't have had to go through the things I had to go through, because I didn't deserve to go through the things that I went through. Like, it was very terrible things that I went through that I could have been saved from, or that could have been avoided in general, had somebody given me that or directed me towards that knowledge or that information. And so now I'm like, learn and different ideas and whatever like that. Like,
here's a tip for you, love, because Jupiter is your planet of like how you grow. Like whenever you want to know, like, oh, how do what's next? What's the next move? Focus on Jupiter, and it's in your first house. Jupiter is like I said, basic in Capricorn. It's basic common sense logic, meaning you need to simplify your like. If you are sitting here and you're like, what project should I do next? What should I do? Like, if you're dealing like what's next, if it seems easy and it seems simple, that's the point. Because sometimes, again, like I said, Capricorns have a really bad habit of they only feel like they've accomplished something if they struggled heavily for it. Yeah. And there's times where it's like you don't need to struggle for it. Sometimes it literally is that easy, but it's that sense of accomplishment that they miss whenever it comes too easy. So for you with that Jupiter, it's in your first house too. So it's sometimes the way what you're like, how to say, sometimes just your perception of the world, as it may seem simple, and it may be like, you know what, maybe I'm being too narrow-minded, maybe I'm being too simple-minded. No. Sometimes things are that simple and that easy, and it's okay to go about it and be like, yeah, it was that easy, because like it's almost like when people are like, oh, you're so well spoken, where'd you go to school? I'm like, that one. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's still a school system, they still teach you. So like I know you have I know you're a little bit racist about certain locations, but schools still can teach you how to read and talk,
So I definitely feel that I have a tendency to do that, and in terms of to overcomplicate things, and really like that sometimes something that seems like super easy is like weird, like almost like it's a trap. Like there's no way that it's that easy.
No, that's the New Yorker in you talking.
Yeah. Like, there's no way that it's that
let me tell you something. I took a New Yorker to Walmart one time, and she's like, "It's that cheap?" I'm like, "Yes, it's Walmart." And they're just like, she's like, "No, this is like $150 in Queens." I'm like, "Why?"
It's that easy, babe.
Like I used to work at the dollar store, and so like because back before, side tangent, this is a little Dollar Tree insider. If it wasn't for Trump and his sanctions against China, Dollar Tree would not have to raise their prices. It is literally. It's because of his sanctions, because a lot of Dollar Tree stuff is made in China. Because of Donald Trump, they had to raise their prices. But anyways,
so $125 now. Dollar Tree itself is not even $1. I'm so sad.
Yeah, it's sad. But I think they're trying to keep it from because the moment it hits $2, then they literally cannot be Dollar Tree anymore.
Yeah, like bro, you can't do that.
Yeah, like when I was working there, they were like, oh no, our thing is everything is $1 or less. So people would come in the store, they're like, everything in here is $1? I'm like, yes. How much is that? $1. How much is that? 50 cents. 50 cents? I'm like, calm down, sis. It's not that deep. I'm like, where are you from? She's like, I'm from Queens. I'm like, okay, do me a favor. Inhale and exhale. It's called oxygen.
Through your mouth.
Like she genuinely didn't understand why it was that easy. I'm just like, I think, I don't know. I think you're just a Yankee, love. I don't know what to tell you.
I think you're just a. Nah, New Yorkers be like, there's like, yeah, that's definitely a thing.
But also, I don't know if this relates to you in any way, because you're Saturn. Saturn is the planet that rules over like your career, and it also rules over your highest point of achievement. Your Saturn is in, what sign is this? It's in Aries, and it's in your, wait, no, it's not. It should be. Wait, it's in Aries, isn't it? It should be in Aries. Or is
it should be.
It's in Pisces. Fuck.
What does that mean, man?
Wait a minute. I feel okay. Saturn in Pisces is like,
this is quite strange.
you have to take responsibility for your potential. Take responsibility for your fear of the unknown. Also, there might be, hold on, let me look at this date really quick. What date did it go into Aries? Because like we're born this, no, because you and I were born the same year. So that like, that's why I'm like, because but my Saturn's in Aries. That's why I'm like, okay, what year, like when did it go into, what time of the year did it go into Aries? It went, oh, well, damn. It went into Aries on April 7th. So yeah, you are a Saturn in Pisces. So basically you have, take responsibility for your potential. It's more so, regardless of how afraid you are of the future or afraid you may be of missing out on something great, do whatever you can to keep yourself grounded in the meantime. Because if you unground yourself, you're going to lose your mind. Literally. You'll drive yourself insane.
So ground myself in.
Basically, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Take responsibility for your fear of the unknown. Take responsibility for your create. Pisces is like a blank canvas of art that you've yet to create with. But you're scared to start on the artwork because you're afraid it's going to be bad. But at the same time, you know you need to start on something, but you're scared to start on it, but you're scared to, but you need to, but you're scared to, but you need to.
Yeah. You see how my brain works? It's just like,
See how you're what?
you just see, like, you're just getting a peek inside my mind and why it takes a little minute for me to get shit together, because I go through that way and I'm just like, I'm gonna cry, because that's like a lot on the little temple here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Which is why another reason why I feel as though like partnership is important, because I feel like that will help me to balance me out. God damn.
I will say, one thing I will say is be careful. If you end up dating, the reason I say the signs, I get why you're attracted to the Gemini. Don't date a Gemini. All right. Okay. And the reason I say this is because it's primarily this. When it comes to you, your chart is mostly air signs, but at the end of the day, you're still a Capricorn. So, like for example, you should only be dating an air sign if they have like a bunch of earth sign placements or water sign placements. You know.
Well, so for all you Geminis and Aquarius and what's the other one? Libra. Sorry to tell you, unless you have mad earth sign in your thing, you're what we call eclipse.
Yeah, because the primary issue here is that like
you didn't hear it from me, you heard it from CD.
Like
oh my God, you should make that a jingle. You didn't hear it from me, you heard it from CD.
No, like for example, I had this. Well, I was on my way to New York actually, and I was staying at an Airbnb, and this one clientele, it was really random actually. They were like, they were a married couple. He was an Aries, she was a Cancer, and I was like, why are you married? Because they just that's not a compatible. It's not a compatible number. It's just not. I didn't understand why it was a thing, but it was, you know. And so like, he was a Aries sun, Taurus moon, Aquarius Venus, Aquarius Mars. She was a Cancer sun, Pisces moon, Gemini Venus, and then I can't remember her Venus and her Mars. That Gemini Venus was the main thing holding their relationship together. Because she had the communication style of a Gemini and Aries is compatible with Gemini, if she refused to communicate with her husband, they would never work.
Well, yeah, because that's friggin'... So, what? I need somebody... I either need an earth sign or a water sign?
Yeah, but either an earth sign or a water sign, or a fire sign or an air sign that has a bunch of earth and water placements. Because I think it's a matter of more so if whoever's receptible to all that air energy. Because I think right now it's like, are they receptible and are they going to use it to actually get to know you and to be productive with you? Or are they doing it just for the sake of trying to control you?
Who? The ones with earth sign placements?
In general. Because sometimes people see us ADHD people as someone that's easy to control a lot of the times, and they don't take our emotions seriously a lot of the time. Like we'll say we'll have an issue with something, and they'll just be like, yeah, go hyper. They just won't take it seriously until we like scream at them, and we're like actually about to fight them and explode.
I'm dead ass about to stab you.
Is that what the Gemini did to you?
What do you mean?
Is that what your relationship with the Gemini? Is that what the Gemini did to you?
What? Invalidate my feelings?
Yeah.
I don't think that we were never a thing. Officially. So it was like we were talking for like 2 months, I think. And I mean I felt great, but I don't really know. Because then I left. It was great.
Wow.
But then I felt as though I wanted to get serious. It was very strange. But then I went back to a narcissist and it was not fun. So it was like, I feel like it was like a 6-month span where I had left the narc. And then I started talking to somebody who was a Gemini. And that was great, or it felt great. I just didn't like how I could never get, at least from my perspective, I don't know if this is their perspective, but I could never get them to go like deeper with me in terms of like emotional wise, which I get, especially after only 2 months of talking to somebody. Like you're not gonna go like,
oh no, there's a trick to that. Like I said, if you want a Gemini to like you, prepare.
I don't want somebody to like me.
If you want them to open up to you, you just have to pretend you don't care.
Okay, let me tell you something. I'm not with the playing games. I'm not trying to trick nobody into telling you how they fucking feel. If you don't,
Mitchell's about playing games. Hi, Mitchell.
I hate Mitchell. I love him, but I hate him, and I'm not.
I can't stand him either.
I'm not gonna play the games, bro. If like you're not gonna tell me how you feel, I'm not gonna force you. I'm not gonna play the mind games. I'm not trying to I'm at a certain age where I'm not doing that bullshit. Like it's either you naturally come out to me or that's it. I'm not gonna force. I'm not gonna play games with you.
I'll word it to you like this. If you take up all the emotional space, they can't be in depth with you.
Okay, that I can work with.
Yeah, that's why I mean, like, when I say pretend you don't care, I'm not saying play games, I'm saying give them the space to be in depth with you.
You mean like, I don't even know how to do that, to be honest.
Like, if you're the main one being emotional, a man will never be emotional with you because he's going to view you as someone that he has to take care of all the time. He won't be able to be emotional at all.
I hear you. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a great thing. Okay, so for all the men out there, I feel that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that brings me to your asteroids. More of your asteroids.
Oh, asteroids. I love CD.
So there's your Deianira. Deianira is your planet of victimization. It represents toxic coping mechanisms, and that's in Taurus, which means you use money. Like money, finance, material things. Like you're a retail shopper, or a retail therapist. Yeah. And then you're like, where did all my sentimental items go that made me feel good about myself? Oh, I either sold it or spent it all or gave it all away because I was being Captain Save-A-Ho. And then I realized that I still needed that to make myself feel stable. Now I feel dumb. And then there's Nessus. Nessus is the planet of the abuser. This is how you're the most abusive.
This is how I abuse people?
Yes.
Lord.
You can be delusional as hell. You get lost in an ideology and a philosophy, and you jump to conclusions too fast, too soon, too quickly. And you will believe something in theory before you believe it in application.
What does that part mean? I believe it in theory more than application. Go ahead.
You believe it when you're talking about it and thinking about it, and then when you actually do it, you flake out.
That's a fact. That's true. I do that with my work. I be like, oh my God, this is a great idea. It all makes sense up here. And then I start physically doing it. And then I'm absolutely like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Like Mitchell planning a trip to New York.
Listen, he didn't take me to PR, and I'm absolutely just no with him right now. Okay? Me and him are not clicking. We're not clicking right now. Okay?
We don't talk anymore.
And the delusional, I will act delusional all day long. I act like the most naive person ever when I know exactly what's going on. But
y'all, if an ADHD person, we look like we don't know what's going on. Usually we don't, but there's a very small chance that we do, and we just want the dick.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. I can see somebody trying to manipulate me, and I'll let them think that they're doing whatever just because. Listen, I just
Scorpio.
I've never had a Scorpio before.
I will say this: Scorpios from New York are a very specific brand. I'm saying Scorpios from New York City are some of the most intense, hilarious last motherfuckers I've met in my life. They're entertaining as hell because they think they're being mysterious. I'm just like, friend, we all know.
Who's a Scorpio and from New York? I would like to test out a theory.
Yeah. And so also you have a planet called your Chiron. And there's also there's also your Medusa. So Chiron is like healing energy that works for everyone except you. Your Chiron's in Libra. So you know how to balance everybody else out except yourself. So before you enter a room, you need to be focused on making sure that all of your inner thoughts and inner everything is balanced out. Someone said, are Scorpios compatible with Capricorn? Scorpios literally are always stalking Virgos and Capricorns. Like every Virgo and every Capricorn will have one Scorpio hovering around them at some point in time.
I ain't never been with a buddy. Yeah.
I have like 5.
I don't have any. At least not that I know of.
Look harder.
I would really look harder. I really want to know. Like,
I assure you, they're lurking in your follow, and they're lurking on your Instagram page.
The Scorpio, don't hide. Don't hide.
Except that one.
After this live, I really have to figure out what or who this.
They said they used to work with you.
I don't remember that at all. Like hey, I'm not gonna apologize for it. This is literally how my brain works. Like I don't remember chunks of my life.
Now you're Medusa. Medusa is healing energy that only works for you. This is like the overly passionate, the super pessimistic, the trust issues, the hypersexual, the hyper angry, the hyper everything, actually.
You're giving me heartburn. Hypersexual, hyper everything.
The Scorpio is like mega intense. Like when you find yourself when you like
my Medusa is Scorpio?
Yes, your Medusa's in Scorpio. But mind you, this only works for you. Medusa represents healing energy that only works for you and not everybody else. It actually hurts everybody else around you.
How the hell? So what is it? How does one work with it? How does it affect my life? How is it going? How?
It's it helps you. It keeps away bad juju.
Oh, that's a good one. So what does it mean though? Like,
I'm saying Medusa's head was a symbol to keep bad luck away. So your pessimism, your super passionate energy, your intense emotional investment, that will help you sort out the good eggs from the bad eggs in your life. Oh. Okay, and then your Chiron, which is like a counterpart for Medusa, helps you balance them out as well.
Okay. So my skepticism, my super and my passionism is gonna keep people away, thank you. Because I don't need any y'all lukewarm ass motherfuckers. Okay? I don't like that. If you don't come to me with no non-passionate stuffs.
Yeah. Now with your Lilith, this represents good intentions gone bad. and it's in Cancer.
I knew that one.
Meaning that like you cannot suppress your emotional fundamentals and your emotional stability and security for the sake of somebody else's vanity.
Meaning, don't suppress my feelings for
meaning, like for example, if we're like, let's meet up. I'm using him as an example just because. If you say let's meet up with all of our friends and then they're high the whole time.
Oh my God, man! Like, fuck you, Mitchell.
You know, because if you suppress that, because again, it's like if you suppress that, it turns bad, and then you finally express that emotion, it comes out really toxic. Because the whole message. Think of it just like a way where it's like, even though your emotion is valid, it's not interpreted that way because it came out toxic and deadly and mean.
That's me.
That's Lilith in Cancer.
Okay. And I'm sorry, say that again. How does it come out toxic?
If you it's like, you know, Maleficent?
Yeah.
How she wasn't a bad person, but she got treated so badly she just snapped.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, that's Lilith when it comes to your emotional stability. If you are not, like, don't suppress your emotional stability and security, or else you will become like the evil one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like the hero that the villain that was originally not a villain, you know, but they let their traumas turn them into a villain.
I kind of felt like I was gonna walk into my villain era 2022 if I didn't address that, and because that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't. It's hard. Okay, boom. In my life, serious, man. In my regular day-to-day life, it's hard for me. It's difficult for me to be vulnerable with anybody because my emotions are so, and when I explain my emotions, it's so complex that people look at me with the most blankest of stares, bro. And that gets me so tight that I don't even want to talk to anybody. So that's why when I do get into a relationship and then I end up flooding the person with whatever emotions, I don't want them to feel as though they don't have this space to do whatever. But it's like, if I don't get it out, I'm gonna be tight. That's originally why I went to therapy, and why she ended up ending therapy with me, because it wasn't a thing. Like, she felt as though I had what I had came to her for. She felt as though I had reached, like, I was good enough and that I had healed that to where I was just going to therapy and I was just talking to her. It wasn't and I was solving my issues or my own whatever I had brought to her on my own. And it was like I was literally only paying her to literally just be an ear, to be a friend, to listen to, because I didn't have anybody else to explain how I was feeling. So that's another reason why I always want to be in a relationship, because I'm like, only the person that I'm in a relationship with is going to understand how complex my emotions are, because there's literally no one, and like maybe my friends to a certain extent, but there's literally like almost non-existent anybody in my life. Hello, Howard. Yes.
I mean, I do now.
Well, now you do, yes. Which now I feel like, if with your consent, I'll come to you with a lot of things. But yeah, like that's how I felt. Like I couldn't go to anybody. I couldn't explain to anybody my complex emotions. So that's how that worked. And I was literally supposed to go to my villain arc.
Just do it. Like there's a planet called your lot of fortune. That's not a planet. It's like a wheel of fortune. It's an Aries, which means that like when you do impulsive shit, just out the blue, without question, that brings you all the good luck in the world. So just do it. So like if you ever don't know what to do, just do it. Like when we have those random ADHD downloads, you're just like, yo, I thought about something and I realized.
Somebody said just be a villain. Somebody was like, just be a villain. To be honest with you, I ain't never been with a baddie. I'm so serious. Like the person you guys see now, you guys, I'm completely changed. Like, she's completely not gonna be this once January hits. I'm like changing my whole look again. A villain arc vibes. Like
Are you becoming a crystal girl?
Ew, no. I'm just being whatever it is that I want to be. Like literally, there's a bunch of like hairstyles and like fashion aesthetics that don't make sense that wouldn't make sense to other people, that I'm literally just gonna start like.
So Aquarius.
Mash, pretty much.
But this brings me to your last placement, and that's your vertex. Your vertex represents what does it fucking represent? Destiny's gate. It's the energy. Yes, it's the energy you channel when things happen outside of your control, and it will bring you harmony. So I'll be reading from my notes. So vertex in Leo, your vertex is in Leo. This I'm reading through. So this placement encourages narcissism, depression, fear of death, and even sadism. In this season, you have to learn to be less egocentric. You will be pushed to learn how to be creative. Individualization is the task. A personal approach to dealing with people is needed rather than objective orientation. This placement connects very well with your inner world, but it has a lot of difficulty withstanding the limitations of authoritative figures. The emotions of the vertex in Leo are very close to the surface of the mind. But this can make you ignore the emotions of others. And there's a regal need to be desired and cherished and worshipped and recognized for one's innate superiority on all levels of intimacy. And it's almost intrinsic. The vertex in Leo, when activated, expects for you to become a strong individual and not just a member of a group. And when it's activated, it brings permanent change with new qualities for the better. In this case, you're born for a new fire for your life in Leo traits. If you do these things, you will become aware of your own individuality or creative tendencies. You will strengthen your ego, and you will help others develop their goals, and you will improve in your own ability to magnetize things, like attract things. If you do not accomplish these things, you will create an ego complex and create conflict within yourself, and you will feel less and less worthy and like a person of little to no importance or value. Remember, the vertex is a sign of karma that needs activation to bring out its power. And that's your whole chart. Any questions?
Definitely feeling the vertex. That's something that I was also working on right now as well, where it's just more of again, I know everybody else is kind of like whatever, but like
I need from you.
I view things now as like we're all like pieces of like this like big puzzle, whatever, and like each piece is essential. Like, so it's like technically like on a easier note, everyone is special, and everyone is like needed in essentials, but needed in the sense that you need to be exactly you. Stop trying to be the same pieces, because you can't have 2 or 3 or 10 zillion of the same pieces, because then obviously we'll never have the picture. So I'm just on some like stepping into myself, not in an egocentrical way, but in a sense of individualism and such and blah blah. Now, some of the things I feel like I should work on. I guess one, vulnerability. Ew, it's absolutely disgusting.
Well, do you have any questions about your chart at all?
Oh, questions.
Because that's everything.
I know you kind of said about you said about the soulmates things and the asteroids or whatever it may be, and you said the signs. How does one even go about that? Like, you just have to feel that? Should I look at somebody's chart?
You'll recognize it. Like, for example, like, oh God, where'd it go? Hold on, let me find it. Where'd it go? Like your Juno is in Capricorn. What house is that in? It's in your it's in your first house. So like you'll feel a strong sense of identity, you know, like you'll feel like your sense of self is really shining through with that partner, and you won't feel the need to question anything about yourself.
Right.
You know, you'll feel safe and secure. You'll feel like you have a strong foundation in your relationship.
We'll see that. We'll see how safe I can feel with people.